we go to the other skills. So we have club sweep, club throw, rebounding club, and whirling club. Which ones are the ones that you say that people actually use?
I use club throw as my primary means for single target damage. I think it does the most damage because it hits a target twice. It hits once as you throw it towards them, and then as it comes back, it hits again.
Can't wait to try this out.
So essentially, you're doing double what it says there in the tooltip.
Can you throw another one if you throw one?
Yeah, you can throw at least 2 at a time. I think it used to actually say that. Let me take a look here. Yeah, you can get 2 out there. You can see it. The effect stacks pretty well, and you can hit multiple targets, which is nice.
Yeah,
I think it has the advantage over triple strike in that respect, because triple strike only hits 1 target.
Yeah, plus it's ranged, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Club sweep. Did you use it while leveling for massive, killing AOE, or do you think it's the range is too low?
I felt like the radius was pretty small for what you're able to do with it. A lot of people had success with it in Midtown pre 1.2, I think, where you could use, just 1 tick or 1 point inside of Whirling Club to cause the slow effect, because then it would allow Club Sweep to do double damage, which can be valuable, but the radius for it, like I said, was just too small.
Roger that. Do you use Rebounding Club or Whirlwind Club?
I do not. Rebounding Club is an interesting one. It does keep you out of battle, and you can hit a larger number of enemies, but it does less damage than Club Throw. And my primary means of AoE is really opening lunge, so I don't have a need for Rebounding Club.
Okay, and then Whirling Club. Is there? Do you know any guides that do use them, and do you think they're viable?
I think they are. I think Rebounding Club is really nice because it keeps you at a distance, just like Club Throw does, but it hits more enemies. Whirling Club I used to really like because it hit a number of times and did quite a bit of damage. And as it hit, it also caused enemies to pause where they were, so it would prevent them from attacking you, and it slows them all. I think it still has a 100% slow chance. Yeah, so when you use Whirling Club, you have a 100% chance of slowing enemies, which is really nice. So you can slow a large group. It has a very wide radius.
Yeah, does slowing. What benefit does slowing have? Because I see it on Cloud Sweep, it does double damage on slow targets. But do you get that from other skills as well?
Yeah, it almost feels like I'm Iceman sometimes because I can slow most enemies, but it helps. You get hit less often. The enemies themselves move slower, so I think it can help out your teammates. I'm trying to look for anything I have that gives any points to Whirling Club so I can show you, but it is advantageous in battle, I think.
Oh, I can show it. It's
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so it has a really nice radius on it, but the damage is pretty low at the moment.
Looks cool if I grow from my one cosmic that I have.
Yeah.
Okay. The focus tree then, the second tree. Let's go. If you want to go through all skills, I will just ask questions in between.
Sure. Yeah, definitely his Man Without Fear passive is his bread and butter. It gives you the dodge rating, plus it gives you haste now, which is a really nice option. So after you dodge, you gain 20% attack speed at rank 20 or so. So right now my basic attack is pretty slow, but after I dodge, it increases quite a bit.
Too bad we cannot see that here. I cannot make you dodge.
Exactly. Yeah, it'd be nice if they had an enemy that would just cause some of those effects. The dodge reduction too that they have against bosses where they reduce at 40%. That's another thing that kind of hurts Daredevil because he needs that dodge to trigger some of these abilities that he has. The next thing I invest in heavily is Devil of Hell's Kitchen. It gives you a critical rating. At rank 22, I have 436 crit rating. And then it also gives a critical hit bonus, so I do 450 extra damage. It's not huge, but it's nice.
Yeah, it helps out.
Mm-hmm. Radar ping I used to use far more often, and then another forum member pointed out that it actually has a radius associated with it. So the bonuses you get isn't to all enemies on the screen. It's really to just a select few. If you put a point into it, you'll see that when you cast it, I think just like with Jungle Snare, you'll see a red dot on the opponent, and that means that they've been pinged. So you only gain that benefit against them. And you have to cast it so often. I mean, the spirit cost is really cheap, but I didn't see the advantage in it.
But if I look up a few points in it. It says 500 damage rating bonus. But what's with the? How do you mean the range to it?
Let's see. Do you have a point in it? If you hover over the skill, you'll see that it's got a radius to the effect. So it doesn't spread to all of the enemies on the screen. It'll probably, if I'm standing in the center here, it'll only hit these 4 targets. So the 4 outermost targets won't be affected by radar ping.
Okay, so that's why you just don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, and plus just the utility of it. The amount of damage reduction, and then adding to damage to Daredevil is so hard just because his damage coefficients are so low.
Okay, yeah. Cool, and then Radar Sense?
Radar Sense I actually stack a lot of points into just for the projectile evasion. I don't think there's a cap on things like projectile evasion or projectile deflection, so I think those are really good skills to invest in. With a hero that needs to get close to enemies, also it helps if he's not struck by any projectiles. Plus the tracking radius, I really like seeing enemies on the map. When I play with other heroes that don't have that ability to see enemies on the mini-map, I really get a little lost and I don't see the enemies. And I'll leave some behind.
Yeah. Especially I noticed on Human Torch I actually had a artifact on him just in Midtown, because then you know when you put on your flame on, and you know when you just know where the big groups of enemies are, and it's just it helps you level as well, and it has a great utility. If I can get 1 point in somewhere, I would like I really see the value of the utility value of seeing them on your minimap.
Yeah, you know what's coming before it's there. It's a really good ability. It's fun too. It adds something to the game.
Yeah, definitely. Restorative Trends, do you use that?
I used to have 1 point in it just for when I was sitting out of battle or after something. It's not really useful in battle or at most points in the game, so I took the point out of it. Basically, you stand still and you restore health in exchange for spirit. It doesn't scale very well. If anything, it's a 1 point wonder.
Yeah, I see already that a few points doesn't really give me much. So so you get the health elsewhere then.
Yes, yeah, I put a lot of itemization. I think is very important with Daredevil. The skill tree is one thing, but unfortunately, he's very dependent on items. So one thing I do is stack a lot of health and health regeneration.
Yeah, so it's good that we're gonna cover that after this one. The Relentless Justice. Do you have more than 1 point in there?
No, I just leave it with the default point. I mean, it's nice that it gives you a 10% move speed bonus and a small tenacity bonus, but I think at its highest rank, maybe it gets you near 20% move speed, which isn't all that impressive for the investment in points.
Yeah, I can see that. And then Enter the Void. Do you use that?
Yes, I do. Yeah, that's really helpful if you're, frozen, petrified, slowed. It's nice to have 1 point in it just to shed those conditions.
Yeah, it's the yeah. I'm a bit baffled at the moment because I used to know the older Daredevil that had the Enter the Void and Radar Ping combo, and you had to use both to get a lot of crit damage and stuff, and get health and get spirit reduction on your skills. But that all changed, so
Yeah, that was a big change that I think no one really expected. That was when the new forums, it switched between the old forums and the new forums, and I think Daredevil players were a little confused because you lost this ability to reduce your spirit cost by 50% on all your abilities, which was huge, and they didn't reduce the spirit cost for those abilities nearly as much. It was an interesting one at the time, but I do like having this, negative status condition breaker.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I have all in all heroes that have it at one point there. Just you need that sometimes to get away.
exactly.
So up to the third tree, acrobatics. Yeah, you said that your opening lunge is what you use for AoE actually, right?
Yes, yeah. So opening lunge is really the only viable ability in this tree besides action roll. So I actually completed the game on super heroic with Daredevil, so I have all the the additional points and
Yeah.
things. So I was able to put quite a few points into opening lunge, and then the remainder I just put into action roll. But opening lunge is pretty impressive for what it does, and it keeps you on the move, which is nice. So enemies can't target you, and it does a considerable amount of damage.
Yeah, it also gives some AoE apparently. I mean,
Yeah,
crowd control.
it's got a pretty large AoE effect there, which is surprising. I wouldn't expect it from the ability. That's one thing that bothers me with Daredevil is if you read the comics, he doesn't play in the game nearly like he is in the comics. This type of ability seems a little odd, and then, club throwing an opponent to death seems a little strange too.
Yeah, I have totally I totally feel I always found that when I started the game, Captain America was one of the heroes that really had that. You run around, you punch people, and you throw your shield, and it doesn't have to be that more different. But some heroes don't have that authentic feel, and yeah, I can see that if you like Daredevil, you're not gonna. Yeah, the jumping around and stuff is just not what you expect from
Yeah,
him, right?
it's a little silly. I mean, people say he looks a little bit like a rabbit or something because he's just constantly hopping, but it,
Yeah,
it, it gets the job done.
yeah, that's the most important, obviously. I was while we continue the other skills, I'm also want to point out that the uh, this week has been talked about the I always forget the name. It's not synergy moves, but it's the signature
Oh,
moves.
signature moves, yeah.
And you talked about it a little bit earlier before our stream. And do you know what are the general ideas on the rebuild on Daredevil?
They haven't shared a whole lot. I hear that there's a rework coming in November. They had an interview with Doomsaw on mmorpg.com,
Yeah.
and I asked him about a couple of my favorite characters because unfortunately my favorite melee heroes are some of the worst in the game. Um, so he's currently taking ideas, or I think Gazillion is accepting ideas for what they should do with both his signature and his ultimate, because his ultimate is a little bit lackluster.
Yeah, the ultimate, I'm going to show that people might already know, but it summons Electra for. Well, mine is at rank 5 because I got a lot of tokens apparently. So it lasts for 1.1 minute, and but I heard that she used to die quite instantly.
Yeah, it used to be that she had health, and then they removed that. But then for a while there was a bug where she would just get killed. So in one hit. But now it's fixed. She stays alive. But you can see the amount of damage she does is pretty low.
Yeah, indeed.
I mean, Black Panther's Dora's probably do more damage than she does, and she's an ultimate.
Yeah, yeah. An ultimate should be ultimate. For those
Exactly.
that watch this later or don't really know about the signature moves, quickly gonna go over that is that they are with Squirrel Girl coming and Spider-Man. They're actually going to give players more abilities at later levels. So you get, well, Electra is interrupting me. But you get like skills that you get only at 32 or 42. So and those should open more build options. Plus ultimate your ultimate skill is going to be reworked because they're just not really happy with how some work at the moment. And every hero gets a level 30 signature move, which also levels up with your um, it also levels up with your ultimate tokens. So it has a synergy with your ultimate tokens, but it's actually just on a shorter cooldown. And for some, this means that, for example, Electra, you can just keep summoning her every 3-4 minutes, while he will get a more insane power at the later levels. That's an option, but what it does mean for me mostly is that every hero will get a rework, and I'm really excited about that because more build options and a closer look to all existing heroes can only be good for the game. So sorry for
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
That's sidestep. So action roll giving you the dodge bonus. You have a lot of points in there, I assume.
Uh,